I want to try out an optimization for my greedy meshing algorithm. But to do this, I first need to be able to transfer voxel data to the GPU and color a binary mesh from the fragment shader. In this video, I'll make a small adjustment to my greedy meshing algorithm so each quad can cover multiple voxel types. I'll then show how I use a 3D texture to transfer voxel data to the fragment shader at runtime, and use this to color the mesh. So I started by converting a copy of my old greedy meshing to binary greedy meshing. This just treats all voxels as if they were the same type, but everything else works as before. In the next voxel video, this is the algorithm we'll be optimizing. But for now, let's move on to coloring the mesh from a shader. For this we need two things: a way to transfer voxel data to a shader, and a shader that will use this information to put the correct colors on the screen. We can use a 3D texture to send data to our shader. I'll be creating the texture in my chunk data class. In Godot, we can use image textures when we want to create textures from code. To create an image texture 3D, we need an array of images, one for each layer in the texture. The first thing we then need to do is to set these up in the chunk data's constructor. I'm using the R8 format, so each pixel in the images only has the red color channel, and we use 8 bits per pixel. Whenever a voxel is added or removed at position X, Y, Z, I then get the image at position C in the images array and edit the pixel at position X, Y. When adding a new color like this, the value should go from 0 to 1. Note that the number used for the division here has to be the same as the one we use to get the voxel type in our shader later. Before using our texture, we need to update it with the newest information in our image arrays. It's too expensive to do this every time a voxel is added or removed. This is mainly an issue when generating new chunks. So instead, I only update the texture when it's needed, which is in a new method for getting the data texture. This will then be used later whenever we want to send the voxel data to our shader. I then moved on to adding a shader material to my chunk node and created a new spatial shader. The next part requires some experience with shaders. If you know absolutely nothing about shaders, then you can go watch this video to catch up first if you like. First, we need our voxel data as a uniform input. We can use the sampler 3D type for 3D textures. I also set this to filter nearest, and we can look at what happens if you don't do this later on. Next, we need an array with the colors for our terrain. In this project, I only have 4 voxel types at the moment, so the colors array should also just have 4 colors. And finally, we also need the size of our chunks. We're going to color our mesh in the fragment shader. To do this, we need to know the position and normal of the voxel we'll be coloring to compute where in our 3D texture its data exists. However, we need to have this information in model space. But if we use the built-in vertex and normal properties in the fragment shader, these will be in view space. If you want to learn more about the different spaces our mesh data goes through before ending up on the screen, go check out this page from Learn OpenGL. Local space here is what we call model space in Godot. In the vertex shader, the vertex and normal properties will be in model space like we want. So I created 2 vectors we can use to transfer these from the vertex shader to the fragment shader. In the fragment shader, we can then find the position of our voxel within our 3D texture using the vertex position, the normal and the chunk size. This can then be used to get the color with the voxel type using the built-in texture function. Remember that we only used the red part of a color to store the voxel type. And finally, we set the albedo color using the corresponding color from the colors array. The last thing needed for this new coloring to work is for each chunk to transfer the required data to the shader. I do this right after a chunk has generated a new mesh. Using the setShader parameter method, I set data to be our new 3D texture, and then I also set the chunk size. Finally, I set the colors for our voxels directly in the inspector menu, as these shouldn't change at runtime. Now it's time to test and see if this all works. Remember to choose the correct meshing algorithm in the properties for the chunk manager. Whoops, this doesn't look right. Since our chunks share material, the coloring will update for all chunks when a mesh is generated. To fix this, we need to go back to the material properties in the inspector menu to where it says resource, and then enable the local to scene property. Now the material isn't shared between chunks, and our coloring will work as planned. You can also try to remove the filter nearest here and see how the terrain looks without this. We now know how to transfer voxel data to a shader and use it for coloring our binary mesh. Now that I'm sure this is working correctly, we can look into how we can optimize the binary greedy meshing method using integers and bit tricks in the next voxel video. I hope you liked this video, and remember to like, subscribe, hit the bell and all that if you want to see more like this in the future.